Hi y'all. So I wanted to kind of walk around the neighborhood today and talk about a couple of things. Like, look at these freaking cameras. So I noticed them putting these cameras in place in this neighborhood. See, they're still building in here, right? They're building all these row houses in this area. Look at this. Look at all the spy gear. High voltage too, right? Just for a little neighborhood. All part of the plan. So I saw these. My mom bought this house, or we built this house. Let's see, 2015, I believe. So now here it is. I guess she moved in 2016. So 4 years later. And this is the kind of the neighborhood, which, is nice. Except for I don't like that how the houses are so close. But that's on purpose, right? So they can keep an eye on you. Your neighbors can keep an eye on you and spy on you. I mean, you can hear your neighbors like yelling at each other. You could be like, oh man, that's a great relationship, right? And this is cattle country, so they're paving over all of this land where you typically had your animals grazing. And if you look around, there aren't that many animals even grazing out on the pastures. I think most of our meat these days comes from these feedlots. And I remember when I was a kid, one time I went to the Piggly Wiggly, which is a grocery store here in Texas, and my grandma pointed at the meat in the food case, and said, "Don't ever eat that meat. You don't know what they do to those animals." And we had a cattle farm, so I actually never had any outside beef until I went to West Point. And I actually started feeling like I was allergic to beef when I was there, because I used to feel sick if they would ever give us any steak, which was very, very rare. But when they did, I would feel ill. And I had seen the boxes from the meat that they had given us, out in the dumpsters out behind the mess hall. And it said grade D meat, which is right above dog food. So that's what they're feeding the military, is grade D meat. And then, they wonder why everybody gets sick in the military. Anyways, what I really wanted to talk about today, besides the cameras, is my sister. She runs a plastic surgery clinic. She is the manager. And recently, last week, they had a patient test positive for CV. And this patient has no symptoms, but they canceled the person's surgery. And now they say that everyone at this plastic surgery clinic must take the swab test to prove that they aren't CV positive. And if they are CV positive, then they have to be quarantined at home for 14 days. Even though nobody's sick, right? And I told her, don't you dare take that test. You should refuse. They don't have probable cause to take your DNA, right? Where is their search warrant, right? They're just going right around your Fourth Amendment rights for unreasonable search and seizure by getting you to volunteer to take a test. And then, they're going to get you signed up with the new NKVD, the contact tracers. That's what they're up to. This is about totalitarian control. And once they've got you in that database saying that you have it, they can fuck with you forever, right? Anytime you go to someone's house, it's on your phone, you went to that house. Oh, well, those people can't work. So all your friends and family, all they have to do is decide to be mean, which, when hasn't the government decided to be tyrants? Tell me one time in history. And there you go. So that's what's going on, and I sent her a bunch of ammunition, a bunch of articles and like the World Health Organization. I have this PDF from the World Health Organization that states on page 39 that, and this was in September 2019, they had some sort of big meeting. It states on page 39 that the World Health Organization has to release 2 lethal viruses and run simulation exercises. So it's seemingly lethal viruses, and run simulation exercises before September 2020 and have to do it twice, which that's what your second wave is about. Okay. I mean, I literally have the document. I posted it on LinkedIn. Oh no, I've been posting everything. I know that my job doesn't like it, but I don't really care. You know, I was talking with, I have a new friend now from YouTube. She got a hold of me because of my videos, and we were talking on Friday night. So nice. But we were talking about how that, you know, I'm brave or whatever to post this stuff on LinkedIn, and I don't know about how brave it is, but it's just like, I'm the kind of person that feels like they don't have anything to lose, right? Like, perhaps if the Archons, or whatever you want to call it, hadn't taken fucking everything from me, I wouldn't be so militant, right? Like, I would have something to lose. But since it's just me and my mom and my sister, and I know that, you know, my mom is not well, that I know in my job, so I've got 3 things. Everything else, my health, they've just ripped everything from me, you know. Hope of opera or children or a husband or a boyfriend or anything, right? They took away my friends. So, you know, when you got nothing to lose, you're dangerous. And so I think that a lot of people out here, I bet you there's probably a lot of people like me who've just been fucked with by whatever evil runs this world. You can call them the Archons or demons or fallen angels or whatever. I've been fucked with enough that, you know, we don't care anymore. And like what else are you gonna do? Like, do it already. I mean, I'm not gonna stay quiet while they take away all of our rights and then, you know, make it to where no one has a future on this planet, and that every single child that is born from now on, you know, is born into this microchipped hellhole. So I'm not going to sit quietly while it happens. That's all I could say. And they can come at me with everything they already have, and I'm still fucking here, right? I'm still walking down the road, still eating gourmet meat and drinking milk right from the farm, and they can all go to hell. They are from hell anyways, from what I see. I know, it's interesting. We were watching a movie last night, my mom and I. She's doing better. She was a little tired yesterday. She got too motivated and decided to dye her hair and couldn't, you know, keep her arms above her head for very long. And I was just like, you know, you should have waited for me to come home. I was only gone 2 hours. I would have helped you. Anyways, so we were watching this movie called Fallen. And this is an old movie from 1998 with Denzel Washington and Embeth Davidtz and Donald Sutherland and James Gandolfini. So it's a very good movie. It's very interesting. It tells the story of this good cop named Hobbs who is being gang stalked by the fallen angel Azazel. And what he's doing is he's moving between people, right, and kind of possessing these people wherever he comes in contact with them. And this is a spoiler alert, y'all, sorry. And if you want to watch it. And so he's kind of, he's gang stalking him basically and making his life miserable because he can't actually get into him because he's such a good person. And so, you know, this fallen angel or demon, whatever you want to call it, is making this guy's life miserable. And he likes to set up people that are good, right? He attacks the good using other people that he can easily enter in and out of, because most people can be possessed and can do the bidding of the fallen angels. And I just thought it was a very, very interesting movie. And I think a lot of times Hollywood tells us stuff that may be true, or partially true at least. My theory is actually that these folks that are inverted, right, the elites, those of you who've been paying attention notice their skeletons don't match what they say they are, right? I mean, I'm a tall woman, and have done, I don't know many women who've done as much exercise as me. I played 2 sports, Division I sports in college. I'm tall. I was in the Army. We used to work out like 4 hours a day. I still don't have a male skeleton, right? No matter what I did with exercise, that kind of stuff, no matter what I did, I still didn't turn into a guy, right? I still had female fat distribution. I still have sloped shoulders, still have a pelvis that is either matching the width of my shoulders or is bigger, right? I still have female Q angle. So, there are people who will tell you that it's, they're just athletic or whatever. No, it's not. If you go watch the World Track Trials, which I do all the time, because I used to run track, it's very interesting. It's an androgyne parade, right? Go watch the female high jumpers, and then go watch the male high jumpers. Tell me who's what, right? Look at the giant Adam's apples, the 2-pronged Adam's apples on the female high jumpers. That's not female, right? So with men, they have like a 90-degree angle on their thyroid cartilage, and that's why it's very hard to hide it. They have to get it shaved down all the time because it just sticks out, because that's the way the angle is. A woman's angle on that thyroid cartilage is 120 degrees, and so that's why it never really sticks out that much unless you see the FTMs, and then they get that Adam's raisin, which is most likely an implant, because even if you take a lot of testosterone, it's never going to change the angle of that cartilage, right? It might make your ears grow bigger. I've noticed some of the MTMs, it makes their ears grow bigger. It makes their jaw a little more pronounced, and it makes their nose bigger. But it doesn't change the shape, right? So you're still not going to have a square jaw like a male does. And then what they do is they get these implants on the side of their jaw, right, to make their jaw look square. And how you know it's an implant is it looks weird, right? So the jaw is now sticking out farther than the ear does, right? That means they have a small skull with a giant jaw. So anyways, I don't know, I've been studying this stuff for a very long time. And I don't know, it's really kind of stupid, but from what I see, my little theory is that these quote-unquote fallen angels actually get into the body through the process of them inverting themselves, right? It's my little hypothesis that something about the process of inverting a child actually makes it to where the human soul isn't there and the fallen angel one is. And that is how all of these generation after generation of inverts are born into the same families. There's like 13 families that control this world, and they all just happen to have skeletons that don't look like the rest of us, right? They're just magically different, right? Probably emphasis on magic, right? Anyways, so that's why I thought that movie was very interesting. I really do. Like I said, this is a hypothesis of mine, not that it's 100% true or anything, but this is where like years of research since anatomy and physiology classes back in the 90s, and reading about forensic science, because I was always very interested in it. I have several books like the Bone Manual and other things that I've been studying, just because things just weren't making sense to me out on this plane, In fact, the only thing that seems to make sense is just coming out here and going for a walk out in the country. And thank God we're still like right here, And I don't know, whatever's going on in this world, these books have kind of tried to tell us what they're up to. I really do think this CV thing, the mask is the beta test for the vaccine with the microchip. And then that vaccine and microchip is the mark of the beast, right? And beast, meaning beast of the field, right? Like if you looked at that cow video I posted the other day, the cows are tagged in the ear, and they tag them when they vaccinate them, right? So that you know what their number is, like 44 up here, and you also know that they've been vaccinated. Same thing with humans, and that's what they're up to. So it's getting real, folks. You're actually going to have to choose individually to submit to these tests and submit to this vaccine or not. And then you're going to have to live with the consequences of your actions, right? And I haven't studied what they're doing with the vaccine much. I know it's going to be chock full of poison like it usually is. I mean, I've downloaded Merck's flu vaccine inserts before, and MMR and all of that. And individually looked up each ingredient, looked at their MSDS, seen how poisonous the ingredients they're putting in there are. And, if you want to take it, I've actually heard that they're trying to put out a vaccine that manipulates our DNA. I don't know, I guess I need to study it more. Maybe that'll be a topic for another video if I go study what they're up to and can actually see what they're trying to do to us. I have heard they're trying to manipulate our DNA, so supposedly maybe we can't leave here. I don't know. I don't really know what the deal is with DNA. For instance, there's a book I read a long time ago called The Biology of Belief by Dr. Bruce Lipton. And his position is that DNA is actually the code for the quote-unquote radio station that is you, that's being broadcast from somewhere in the universe and being broadcast down here. And so in your body, this DNA picks up your signal. And the reason why he says that is that there have been reports before about people who have heart transplants or different organ transplants, and the person wakes up and they end up having like a new hobby. Like one guy got a heart transplant from a guy who owned a motorcycle, and all of a sudden this guy who never liked motorcycles before wanted to buy a motorcycle. So there's been anecdotal stories like that. So that was kind of his little hypothesis, is that our DNA codes for our signal, our radio station, quote unquote. Now, if that's true, it's very interesting, because then it would explain why they've been, stealing our cord blood and taking our DNA. I mean, the state of Texas got caught taking the blood of babies born from like 1969 up to the 30 years later and storing it. There's actually a court case about it. They got in trouble for that. Like, why are they storing our blood and our DNA, right? Supposedly, we didn't know about DNA and PCR. I mean, PCR came out, I believe, in 1996, I think, is when the guy got the Nobel Prize for PCR, which is polymerase chain reaction, where you take DNA and, you put it in a vial and you add chemicals to it which make it copy the DNA, right? So you copy it millions of times so that when you use the sample, some of the sample in the tray, so you run it through a tray. I used to do this in college. This was kind of new when I was in college, so we were learning how to do it and doing all these DNA tests and stuff like that. I was a chemistry major, so we were doing research. And so you would run the DNA through the tray and test, you would look at it and to see the genetic markers if it matched. And it was really neat. So if Dr. Bruce Lipton is correct, then they're taking our DNA. Are they doing it so they can bring us back here anytime they want? Right? Are they doing it so they can literally call your soul back because they have your DNA? And I had talked to my a-hole father about this one time, and he said, oh, that's so far-fetched. And I was like, well, you gave me the book. You gave me Dr. Lipton's book and you didn't read it, right? I mean, if that's true, right? If his hypothesis that our DNA is some sort of code for our soul from wherever it's coming from, they would be taking our DNA so they can bring us back here and keep us perpetually, which is really scary. I mean, I already know they got my DNA because I was born in Texas in 1975. So it's like, and then I was in the Army. And now here they go with their fresh test up your nose, which up your nose, the reason why they're doing it is, especially deep in the nose there in those sinuses, there are undifferentiated cells, there's stem cells up there. And, you know, with stem cells, what they've been doing all these cloning experiments with, they don't talk to you about it, right? But that's what they're up to. So that's kind of frightening if you think about it. They want a fresh sample from all of us. And who knows, it might be because they want to keep us here. Maybe because they're trying to create another one of us. Like maybe they're looking for certain DNA sequences or trying to see if any of us are related to the fallen ones, right? You got to remember in the Bible, Genesis, they tell you the sons of God found the daughters of man beautiful and they came unto them and created giants, right? So hybrids mixed with these fallen angels, right? So maybe that's what they're looking for. They're looking for could be looking for their relatives, right? Some of them who fell away and just they missed them, right? Who knows? I mean, there's so many different things they could have been looking for, or they could be doing, or they could be doing all of them, or none of them. You know, maybe it's just complete bullshit what I'm saying, and none of it's real. And God, wouldn't that be amazing if it was? I don't know. And I was watching yesterday. This is the sun. I don't know if you can see, but I was watching a video yesterday about the sun being white now. Y'all notice that? I mean, when I was a kid, the sun was yellow, right? And even when I was in Hawaii back in 2015, the sun was yellow. But now, a lot of times you see it and it's white. I mean, I have pictures in Manhattan of it being white. I don't know, some people say that the sun now that we have is like some sort of sun simulator. I don't know. I haven't studied it enough, but I just thought it was an interesting topic. And like, I've been noticing that the sun is very pale. I have also noticed that when I go out walking, I feel like my skin starts burning. Like it feels really hot instantly. And I remember when I was a kid that it took a while for me to start feeling like I was burning, right? So I don't know if that has anything to do with the sun being a sort of a different color. At least it doesn't appear yellow anymore here. And then also the guy made the point in the video. The guy's name is German Videos, and I think this is called this other channel is called Uncovering Deception Support Group. And this video was on there about, you know, the sun being white, and also, you know, how all the incandescent lights, you know, they want to get rid of those bulbs. The lights on the cars are all white now, you know, your headlights, which I really hate them. I remember when they started switching them, and it's very hard to see, especially when you're coming down the road. Like, I always like to drive at night. So you have to I always wear blue blockers when I drive at night so that my eyes don't get so tired, because those white bulbs are rough, super rough on the eyes. Anyways, that was another thing I saw. And like I said, I'm not 100% convinced on anything, but I try to keep my mind open and my eyes open and see if I can find evidence in real life, or think about why something is happening, so that, you know, I will have a better opinion. Oh look, this guy up here. See, they baled their hay and they're getting ready to store it up for winter, because it does get cold around here. And you got to give, like we had 50 head of cattle, so we used to have to give them a couple of bales of hay like every 3-4 days. Those bales out there, I don't know, probably a ton a piece. They're very, very heavy. You got to have a tractor to move them. And it was fun, like, so they stack them up, if you see over in the distance. So they stack them up in a row. We used to stack them up in a row really close to each other. And me and my sister, we'd have like 50 hay bales one direction and another 50 and 50. So you'd have all these hay bales and we'd jump up on them and run down them. And boy, we just had the best time playing on top of the hay bales when we were kids. And then we would get tired and sit down and grab a piece of hay because we grew hay grazer, which is sweet. It's kind of like a sugar cane. It's not thick like sugar cane, but it's a sugary grass, and it tastes sweet. So we would stick a piece of hay grazer in our mouths. Like you'll see the cows. The cows would walk around and they'd have like one blade of hay grazer sticking out of their mouth, and they'd be chewing their cud. They enjoy it because it's sweet to them. And I'm sure it tastes probably far sweeter to them than it does to us because, meat's what tastes good to humans. Go try to chew up a leaf and see how much you like it. It's not very good. It's hard to swallow. But it does taste good, the hay grazer, like if you just stick it in your mouth. Obviously, you can't chew it up and swallow it and freaking cut your throat with the fiber cellulose. Anyways, I thought this was cool. Our tractors are much bigger. This is a small tractor this guy's got. Just shows you how strong tractors are. We had a tractor that's about three times the size of that. That's like a baby. And then we had the big tines, 2 tines that they use to stick in those bales and grab them. Some people cover them. When you do that, when you cover it, it actually ferments. And cows and horses like beer. They like their hay fermented. We never really covered them. We just left it out. And, if the first top of it was kind of musty or whatever, you just kind of pull it off. And they won't eat it. They're pretty good about that kind of thing. But yeah, you got to get your hay up. Let's see what's in this. Is this just regular grass? Is that what they're baling? Let's check. Oh yeah, they're just baling up grass. Interesting. So they have a little, see this Johnson grass here? Let's see if I can, that Johnson grass, that was actually brought over here. It's not native. It is a pain in the ass. It looks like corn when it's young. I got in huge trouble one time. They told me to weed the garden, and there was a bunch of Johnson grass in there amongst the corn, and I took out the corn and not the Johnson grass because I got mixed up, and boy did I get beat for that. Didn't even mean to, but that's interesting. Well, that's good they're baling that grass because it'll grow. That's not as nutritious as something like a hay grazer or an alfalfa. Thing is, with alfalfa, you gotta watch it. It's got so much protein in it. That's what they supplement the racehorses with. It's got so much protein for the animals, not for us. It's not bioavailable for us, no matter how much they try to tell you it is. You don't have a rumen, and you can't digest cellulose. You don't have cellulase enzyme. I don't know, it's pretty interesting. If you look at the digestion of these animals, they're brilliant, They use this bacteria, symbiotic bacteria, to make volatile fatty acids. See how dry it is here? And then the creek has no water. We really do need rain. It's been cloudy here. Like yesterday it was 82 degrees, which is, like winter. Felt like when it had been 100. But it didn't rain. The clouds just sat in the air. Kind of interesting. All right, well, I've talked way too much today, but I just wanted to say a few things, and I hope y'all are doing well. Take care. Bye.